Hey everybody, it's Emily, Jack, and Katie coming to you from WP Fusion on this Cyber Monday. This is the last day of the sale that we have going on this Black Friday season, and it's the only sale we do all year. So this is the day. If you haven't taken advantage of the sale already, today is the day. We'll have some more information about that, but you can find it at wpfusion.com/Black Friday for 30% off all of our packages. And yeah, let's check in with how are you doing, Jack and Katie, on this Cyber Monday?
Doing well. We've got just under 12 hours to go now, so it's the final stretch. I'm looking forward to having it all over with and taking a nice nap. How are you doing, Katie?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, it's been pretty smooth sailing. And yeah, we're excited to tune into everybody today and maybe answer some questions from our live audience. Excited to see y'all.
Yeah, and so let us know in the chat if you have any questions. We'll make sure to prioritize the people who made time to make it here live. But we do have some prepared questions about events tracking with CRMs and WP Fusion that we can talk about. And then we also have some specific WP Fusion questions that had been pre-submitted or questions that we'd seen around in the industry that we can cover for those who watch the replay. But cool, I guess, Katie, do you want to kick it off with some of the questions from our list?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, anyone that is joining, please introduce yourself in the chat, say where you're from, or maybe a fun fact about you. Otherwise, we're going to talk about event tracking today. And seeing that we're kind of in this momentous weekend of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Small Business Saturday, this is a really useful skill to have within your WP Fusion toolbox. So, event tracking, let's get started. We're going to talk first general terms, and then we're going to get into the nitty gritty of WP Fusion. So, just to give you the path ahead, that's how it will work. First question. What types of events are typically tracked in a CRM, and how does this data enhance marketing and sales? And hey, Brad, nice to see you.
Hey, Brad. I guess I can kick that one off.
Hey, Brad.
Hey, Brad. But yeah, so what kind of data is usually tracked in a CRM? CRMs all use a little bit different terminology, but fundamentally they do very similar things. But then they're all tailored to different industries, different use cases. Some of them have products, some of them have pipelines. So to some degrees, they track slightly different things depending on what their use case is for, what size business they're for, and all kinds of things like that. But on a basic level, they'll all have something like tags or lists. This is a way you can categorize your users and send them messages that are curated based on certain conditions that they meet within your audience. So that's like a really basic system. When someone signs up for email sequence on your website, signs up for blog posts, or maybe signs up for a product or purchases a product, you can segment your audience based on the activity, either via lists or via tags. And so you'll find something like HubSpot uses the terminology of list, and you don't really have tag as a concept in the same way you'd have a tag with something like Groundhog or Fluent CRM or ActiveCampaign. So fundamentally, that's usually how those are tracked. You'll track email open rates, you'll track email broadcast campaigns and automation. So those are some high-level overview of what CRMs usually track. And then WP Fusion adds a lot of interesting features to that stack. But yeah, is that the spirit of the question? I'll pass it over to you, Jack.
Sure. Yeah, that's basically it. So the kind of the reason why event tracking is our newest add-on. And the reason we had the idea for it was that a lot of our customers are running online courses and memberships, and they want to see what students are doing in the CRM. And historically, that had been done with tags. So you can imagine if you have like 6 courses and each course has 40 different lessons in it, plus quizzes and videos and stuff, you can, and you're trying to see how the student is progressing, you've set up every one of those to apply a tag when it's complete. And then you go and you look in your CRM and you have, 100 tags, and it's really hard to get a sense of where the student is in your course or how active they are. So event tracking kind of solves that by with the platforms that support it by putting this this information that happens chronologically, like course progress. It puts it into an activity feed in the CRM so that you can see what's happening over time, instead of just seeing a bunch of fields or a bunch of tags all piled together. And I can show some examples of that. Let's see. I will share
Awesome.
browser. Cool. So I think you can see my ActiveCampaign contact record here.
Yeah.
And you can already see I have a ton of tags, and most of these aren't even course related. So it gets a little bit confusing to keep track of. Like, did that person pass the quiz? Okay, they did pass that quiz, and they did purchase that one product. So tags are great, but if you have too many of them, it can be quite hard to organize. So event tracking happens over here in this activities panel. You can see some example ones I've tested recently. I'll just give some more examples by going through a course. So let's say I've got my test course here in LearnDash, and I'm just going to go to lesson 1. And okay, well, I already completed it, but we'll uncomplete. And then we'll mark it complete. And I'm going to go to lesson 2 now, mark it complete. And then we have a little quiz at the end of the course. Yes or no? Good question. Okay, I guess I'll choose yes. Oh, I got it right. Wow, that's amazing. All right, so we've completed the course. So now if I go over to my contact record in ActiveCampaign, what I'm going to see is my students' progress in that course in real time. So you can see I completed course A lesson 1, then I completed course A lesson 2. Oops. Then I completed this lesson. Then I submitted the quiz. I scored 100%. I got 1 point. And then finally, the course itself was marked complete. So that's what event tracking looks like. And in JP Fusion, we let you configure that through a bunch. We have about 10 different plugin integrations. We're adding more all the time. So this is in the admin of my WordPress site. And for each of these integrations, I can choose a trigger and then the events that I want to send. So let's say I want to trigger an event when somebody starts a course. I can say started, and then I can merge in all of these variables that are on my site. So I can have the course title, the title of the last unit the person completed. I can use information about the user, the page they're on. The variables will be different depending on the integration you're using. So I'm just going to say started course title, and then I don't know what else, what might be interesting here. We could say the user's roles. Maybe we want to know what roles the user has. And then I can even send a test to see that it's working. And back in ActiveCampaign. Then here we are in my activities, started my cool course. And it's got the details there. So that's ActiveCampaign with event tracking. It works a bit differently in different platforms. If you want to maybe take the next question, I can try to set up a demo in OmniSend while you're working on that, Katie.
Yeah, I'd love to. And I think perhaps you got into a little bit of this, but we can enhance the question and get into this event tracking. I'm excited to know more. So how can event tracking help segment audiences for more personalized outreach?
Yeah, so the whole purpose really of CRMs is to automate and organize. Like Jack showed on screen, you could manage all this stuff with tags, but then it gets really complicated. It becomes almost a burden on the admin of the CRM to keep a crazy organized sheet of like all the tag structuring they might have going on. And so with something like events tracking, it creates another category of something we can use to interact with our audience and know what they're doing that isn't just another taxonomy or segmentation of our audience. It's sort of a storyline or a progression that's a little more naturally related to the activity they're doing in our business rather than an audience segment. It's not just like a tag or a list of people who've purchased a specific product or interacted in a specific amount of time. It's more of the journey that the user goes through. And with that kind of capability, it makes it feel more comfortable to track more events going on rather than being like, oh, if we wanted to track when our users complete each lesson, we now have to create like 200 more tags, one for each lesson. And that's just going to make our tags even more of a nightmare to manage. But with event tracking, it's all just able to be related as events to the CRM in the way that that CRM specifically would handle something like that. That's kind of how I look at it.
And that was perfect timing because now I have a demo set up to show exactly that. All right, here we go back to my screen. So let's do window. So this is what we looked at first was event tracking and ActiveCampaign, which is quite simple. You just have a name and a value, and it shows up here in the timeline. And you can trigger automations based on an event happening, but it's quite simple. Some other platforms allow you to send as much data as you want with your events. So on my other site here, I'm connected to OmniSend, which is a great omni-channel. Let me just show you their website. A great omni-channel, omni-marketing platform that is so boring. It's making this guy yawn. We really like OmniSend. They sponsor a lot of WordCamps, and I enjoy hanging out with them. So if we look at our event tracking setup connected to OmniSend, I have a few more options now. Close these things. So let's say, for example, here with my LearnDash quiz attempt, when a quiz is completed, instead of just being able to, with ActiveCampaign, we could just say the quiz title and then the score, like pretty basic. But with OmniSend, we can send as much data as we want. So I've got the score here with the percentage. I've got the points. I've got the quiz title. I can put last step, all these things. And then I'm going to go send that test. And this would happen in real time as somebody completes a quiz on my site. And then if I go over here to my OmniSend contact record, the activity and events are much more prominent compared to ActiveCampaign. It's kind of the center of the contact record. The custom fields and tags are over here on the left. Here you would see when people opt in, their page views on your site, purchases, all that kind of thing. So I can see my quiz attempt just happened here. And if I open the details, I see the full details that were sent with the quiz attempt. That data can then be used in automations, and it makes it a lot more powerful than using tags. So I've got over here an automation that is triggered when an event happens. So these are all of the different triggers, and I've chosen to trigger it based on a custom event. So you can see I've got API events here. OmniSend detects these automatically based on what you configure in WP Fusion. So course progress, joining a BuddyBoss group, logging in, when a product that was out of stock comes back into stock, and finally a quiz attempt. So I trigger it when the quiz is attempted, and then I can go into this condition and I can read the data out of this key value pairs, we call them, this data payload that's been sent in with the event. So I can say, I want to split contacts going into this automation, and I want to take the score or the points or any of the other points in the, or any of the data points in the event, and then run conditions on them. So in this case, if the score is more than 85%, then I want to say congratulations on passing the course. And I can even put in event.coursename because I've sent the course name in with the event data, so I can merge that into my email. If the person doesn't get more than 85%, then I can send some extra resources to help them. You can do this with tags. WP Fusion also supports applying a tag when someone passes a course and someone fails a course, but then you need to configure that in LearnDash, and you only have two conditions, pass or fail. So this gives you a lot more granular control. I think you can also, let's see if we wanted to, I think we can even trigger based on how many times the event has happened. Maybe not in Omnisend. We work with a lot of different platforms and I get confused. But anyway, I know Fluent CRM is a great example of that one, where their event tracking shows up in a timeline on the sidebar of the contact record. And let's see here, I'll show you that quickly. And each time an event happens in Fluent CRM, it sets off a counter. And when you want to trigger an automation, you can do it based on the number of times an event has happened. So if somebody passes 3 quizzes in one day, that could trigger off a special welcome automation or special congratulations automation, which wouldn't be possible with tags, because if you're tagging the person, they're just tagged as quiz passed. You don't know how many times it happened in one day. So let's see. I don't have any data in here. Emily, I don't know if you have a Fluent CRM setup you could show us. If not, no worries. But I think we've shown what the possibilities are there.
Yeah, I do have Fluent CRM on my demo. If I jump back over there, I don't really have everything all built out with it, but I do have the event tracking add-on installed. And so I haven't explored the event tracking add-on. This is probably the one that I've tried the least. But if I go into my contact record in my CRM, I know that, not notes, where's the...
So your events would show up in the sidebar there.
Yeah.
I think I might have it here with Groundhog. Yeah, I do actually. All right, so I'll take back over again. Presenting. So here we are in Groundhog, which is another CRM that is a WordPress plugin like Fluent CRM or FunnelKit. Here's my contact record. And WP Fusion is sending these events in from my course website so I can see them on the contact timeline. So same thing. We're using LearnDash as an example, but we have lots of integrations like with BuddyBoss and Presto Player if you want to track progress through videos and things like that. But so in this case, you can see I was auto-enrolled into this course. I progressed to 85%. And then Groundhog's automation builder also lets you trigger automations based on events. Let's take a look at that. So it's a little scary going through these test sites live because I don't remember which demos we've set up fully and like which ones are really broken. But let's see. So start the funnel when.
It's a real life scenario, you know?
Yeah. I bet Ace's demo is better than mine. All right, let's see, benchmarks. Yeah, I don't think I have the right add-on active to trigger events based on that right now. Groundhog has a lot of add-on plugins, and I can't always keep straight which one's required for what. But anyway, it's similar to what you can do in Omnisend. Trigger a workflow when an event happens, move people through it using the event properties as conditions, and then even merge the properties from the events into emails that you send to people.
Cool. And so I know like in our last live stream, we kind of talked about how you can mimic Duolingo in that way. So if you like are able to pass a certain amount of tests, then there could be a notification that you're progressing in the course. Am I understanding that we're in the same territory here, or is it a little bit different?
Yep, exactly. And just
Cool.
Event tracking gives you even more control because you can track more data. You can track as many data points as you want from each course progress event.
Super helpful. We have a question from Brad, I believe, in the chat, if we want to take a look. So it looks like Annexus is a site that links financial illustration calculation tools outside our WordPress. These tools are on a subdomain of the primary domain. Can we track events with WP Fusion on these tools?
Yeah. So if those are WordPress websites, also WordPress websites, then yes, you can install WP Fusion on those sites, and it can send events from as many sites as you want into your CRM. So some people have 10 different businesses that they're running on different WordPress sites, and they want to get a complete picture of all of their customer and business activity in their CRM, and WP Fusion helps with that.
And even if they're not in WordPress installs, you saw like the breakdown of the OmniSend report with event tracking. Like WP Fusion handles a lot of that stuff with the like a really well-rounded API. So you could API some information in from third-party apps into your CRM, and then just use WP Fusion to handle the interaction between WordPress with all the data that you're bringing in to either your CRM or through potentially WP Fusion.
Yeah.
But that's a little developer level, but all the information is really well organized at WP Fusion, so it's developer friendly.
Thanks for the question, Brad. We love it. We love answering live, and we love being able to help folks who are here now. Okay, it looks like Brad does have a follow-up, though. They are not on WP. The tools are custom code using Azure.
Okay, yeah, in that case, for example, with OmniSend, you would have to do what we did essentially. They have API documentation, and they have a little script you can download and install in your Azure application. And then that would integrate your events into OmniSend.
All right, and moving on, we have another question from our live audience, BlackJays13. Does the event tracking work for logged out users? i.e., we run ads to landing page, a visitor goes to the site, at the end of a 5-page visit, fills out lead magnet form.
Yeah, that's a great question. So WP Fusion has a way of identifying even a logged out user and then tracking them. Generally, what you would do is get them on a landing page and ask them to submit their email first. And then WP Fusion is going to create the contact record in your CRM, and it's going to set a cookie in their browser so that they can be tracked. And after that, everything they do on your site, all the WP Fusion's normal features are available. You can even protect content using CRM tags and then unlock it. If that person clicked play on a video, that video would track the event in your CRM. If they made a purchase, it would sync the event to your CRM. So all those features will be available, but you need to collect their email first. The alternative way of doing that, if the person is already a lead and is already in your CRM, we also have a way to let you send them a link in an email that includes a tracking parameter at the end of it. And if they click that link, that will identify them to WP Fusion. And then events can also be tracked that way, even though they're not logged into your site. But it would not work. It would not work in the case of somebody just coming in fresh from a paid ad and landing on your page and starting to track events on them without them consenting to it or submitting an email or somehow identifying themselves to the system. We have to know who they are to track them.
Mm-hmm. And I did actually record a video a few days ago that'll be coming out soon about how to have people opt in for a private blog, where you have some of your blog posts public, some of your blog posts private. You simply opt in via email, and then you have access to all this content you didn't before, and then it starts tracking data in the CRM. It's using that complete the form, place a cookie, all the data's tracked method.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I'm going to go ahead and read this follow-up question from BlackJays13. How long does the cookie last for? The UTM link you mentioned is send via email. Is it a global UTM or individual?
The cookie's set for 180 days, and although you can change that. And I will just show the documentation on that because sometimes it's easier. It's not a standard UTM parameter. I don't want to conflict with any other systems that you might be using to collect data. So what we do is we have this parameter CID, and we have examples here from all of our CRMs on how you would send a link with that tracking parameter in it. So let's say you're using MailChimp. You can put a link to your site with this dynamic merge tag email at the end. And when WP Fusion sees that, it will set the cookie. And then even if the person isn't logged in on the site, you can still track events, apply tags, unlock content, trigger pop-ups. So it's a great, say for example, you have a high value customer, high value lead in MailChimp, or someone really warm who's really about to buy, you could apply a tag to their contact record that indicates to show a special pop-up when they visit the site. Send them one of these tracking links, and then when they visit this link, the pop-up will appear just for them because they have that tag in their MailChimp account. So it's a great way if you've got leads in your system and you're trying to get them to come back and maybe take advantage of a Black Friday sale or something like that. You can customize what they see and their whole experience when they land on your site.
Yeah, and those are really easy to use. It looks a little complicated because you're like, well, how would I add that to an email? But you're only going to be using one CRM, so you only need to learn one of those codes. And that's all you really ever need. And usually there's not harm in just putting it in all your URLs by default as like a standard practice, because the page might or might not want to accept that variable depending on whatever your link is. So for like larger organizations where sometimes we're using the information and sometimes we're not, it never really hurts to have that information included.
That's great. Thank you, Black Jays, for the question. We appreciate it. And we appreciate you being here with us on our Cyber Monday sale. As you can see, we have 30% off. You can check it out on our homepage and get the discount on our Black Friday page, which is linked at the bottom here. All right, moving on with our pre-made questions. I'm going to keep focusing on event tracking. And we're going to talk about what the key differences are between real-time and batch event tracking in CRMs. So tell me about that. Explain to me how that works.
Yeah, I don't think, does event tracking have batching? Like usually the batch events are going to be when you do an event in bulk, like you're gathering a report or you're sending an email to 10,000 people. But if you are having individuals like purchase a product on your website, that would be like an individual event that gets processed by the CRM on an individual basis, just based on events happening, or like batch events would be something in bulk. But I don't know if event tracking is related.
Right.
To that.
Yeah. All the events happen for the most part in real time. So that's, somebody clicks on something, the event is sent, somebody makes a purchase, the event is sent, and then it shows up in their contact record in real time.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, then let's move on to the next question. How do CRMs ensure accurate syncing of event data across multiple platforms?
Let's see, I'll pull that up on screen. So how do CRMs ensure accurate syncing across multiple platforms? So it's really cool to have something like a WordPress server running, because it can connect to a bunch of things. So you have your core WordPress, which is where your events are usually going to be happening, or it could be an event in your CRM that triggers something to happen over in WordPress. So the syncing of data, isn't there are like WP Fusion has a comprehensive log that shows you all of the actions coming out of your website. I know when I'm having trouble with something, I'm like, well, why didn't the contact get this tag? I'll look in my WP Fusion log, and I could probably share that, but it shows what's happening in WP Fusion in real time, which is really nice to have. I've lost my window. There it is. So inside of my WordPress site, if I go to settings, WP Fusion, and then I should have, or it's tools logs. Yeah, there it is. WP Fusion log. So I can see, there's like warnings. I might have had like, undefined array editor post ID. So what was this one? It looks like I might have triggered an issue with like a contact record thing, but I'll see in here if there's not a contact record found. I know I've been like, well, why didn't a tag get applied? And it's like, well, there was no user to associate this within our CRM. So we can see all of that kind of data within the log. And so that's how we can make sure that things are happening on our website and see what data might have failed or what data might have succeeded. I don't know if there is a feedback loop built in there. You'll see warnings or errors reported in your logs. So if things aren't returned in the proper format, the plugin will tell you via the logs, and it's really easy to use. That's how I look at it. But what about you, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, of course, you can connect multiple sites to the CRM for event tracking. Events are not so. When we use tags and custom fields, we're kind of indicating something permanent about a person. If somebody's tagged as a customer, then they're always a customer. And site number one can apply a tag in the CRM, and then site number two can make use of that tag to unlock content. Same with custom fields. If somebody updates their name on site number one, that name would sync through the CRM via WP Fusion, and I like the thumbnail, and update the name on site number two. Events are not permanent like that. They're ephemeral. So the events would be flowing into your CRM from all your different sites and appearing on the timeline, but you can't use events on one site to trigger activities on another site. For that kind of thing, tags and custom fields still make more sense.
Yeah, that's I like that marketing. Events are ephemeral. But yeah.
I think we got another question from Brad in the chat. And maybe, Emily and Jack could probably be an expert in this.
Let's
Am I
see.
gone? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you are. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. I'm here.
So Brad wants to replace Evergage. I'm not familiar with it. I just did a quick Google, and I'll be honest, I have a hard time understanding Salesforce tools sometimes. But if you're looking for an email marketing system, definitely get in touch with our support. We support about 60 of them. And of those, about 15 support event tracking. Some look closer to Salesforce's offering than others. Some are more focused on events. I know Bento is a really good one where almost the entire CRM UI and automation builder experience is event driven. Other ones like ActiveCampaign, it's a little more of an afterthought where it appears in the sidebar. But yeah, I would have to do a little bit of research to give you an answer I could stand behind. But if you drop a line to our support, you'll find a contact link on our site. We're always happy to give you some options with that and send some examples and some screenshots and that kind of thing.
Great. Hopefully y'all can hear me okay now. Sorry about the delay there. I'm going to return back to our regularly scheduled program, but feel free to interrupt with these wonky questions. We like wonky questions. They're interesting. They're probably more interesting than the questions I brought. So please bring on the wonky questions. But speaking of the regular questions, here we go. We're going to get a little bit into more of WP Fusion and what we do with event tracking. And first question in regards to WP Fusion is, can WP Fusion automatically tag users in a CRM based on tracked events like form submissions or purchases?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Okay, great. Next question.
That's kind of what it does. So like if someone submits their email through anything on your site, or they click a link from an email that you already have in your system, all of that information can be tracked, all the user interaction. Like Jack showed with that contact ID, if anyone clicked a link that came from one of your emails, then they'll have that contact ID associated. So if they view a page, or they view a video, or they scroll down a page a certain amount, you could see an element and something could happen. Like, so a lot can be tracked once you have their email. But if they submit a purchase to you, or they submit an opt-in form or a survey form, that's an opportunity to collect their email and start an auto login session. I could share my screen and talk about this feature. This is one that I love, which is if we go to settings, WP Fusion, I think it's advanced. Yeah. So, or is it the auto login? Oh yeah, form auto login. So this is one that I recommend users turn on, which is start an auto login session whenever a user submits a form configured with WP Fusion, so that we can start tracking that data immediately. So it really personalizes the experience a lot to be able to log someone into the website as far as WP Fusion is concerned when they submit a form. It's important to know that this isn't a login in the sense of WordPress being logged in. This is more a login in the sense that they have a cookie on their browser that's going to treat them as if they are the user who has the contact ID that they're associated with in the CRM. So it like completely works as a login for all of WP Fusion purposes. But then if they try to access a BuddyBoss group, it might ask them to log in because they're not logged in as a WordPress user at that point.
And we just do that for privacy reasons, because it's a link. You wouldn't want somebody to get access to your email and just be able to click a link and access your WooCommerce order history or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, they can be tracked and access your pages that are protected by tags, but for sensitive information, they still need to use a password.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I appreciate y'all making the simple questions more elaborate and really getting into it. Very helpful. All right, next on the docket. What integrations does WP Fusion offer for syncing event data with specific CRMs or marketing platforms?
Sure. So I can show, just let me share my thing again. There we go. Yeah, so I'd be happy to just go through the supported integrations. So it works with, get ready, ActiveCampaign, Bento, Brevo, Customer.io, Drip, Encharge, Fluent CRM, Gist, Groundhog, HubSpot, Intercom, Klaviyo, MailChimp, and OmniSend. And for each one of these, we have examples on how to set it up and also how it looks. So I could just show a couple of the ones that I like. I got this pop-up going. So again, we saw this when we were looking at the admin earlier. This is how the product setup works. And then when it appears in Bento, you would see the person's contact record and tags on the left, and then their events are on the right. And just like we saw with OmniSend, when you click on an event, it opens up and you can see all these details. And then events can trigger workflows again. So identified visitors who trigger the custom event course lesson, then this would trigger a workflow and send your email or trigger your pop-up or whatever you need. HubSpot, at the moment, we're working on improving that. I love HubSpot. It's a great platform, but they're always adding new features. And so a lot of times we create one implementation and then we have to redo it again a year later. At the moment, we track events as notes in the HubSpot activity timeline, but we are working on a more comprehensive event tracking integration for HubSpot that would let you trigger automations. MailChimp I think it's a bad reputation because it's been around so long and a lot of people use it as their first email marketing tool. But they've added a lot of great features over the last 2 years in terms of event tracking and automation. And very similar here to what we saw with OmniSend and Bento. The activity shows up in the activity feed. You can click on it and expand it and then see the details. And then again, you can trigger automations with that. And then finally, yeah, we looked at OmniSend, but just a quick one. Yeah, same thing. We saw this a few minutes ago. Seeing things like joining groups, making progress in courses, logging in, taking quizzes, and then each one of these contains all of the details, and then those details can be used in automations and with triggers and placeholders and emails. And so those are the CRMs that are supported. And then the plugins that we support with that are here. Affiliate WP. I mean, this is a great one. We use this on our site now. We track events when affiliates send referrals. So an affiliate registers and is pending. We see this event on their contact record in Fluent CRM, the pending. When they're approved, we see that they're approved. When an affiliate sends a referral to us, this event goes to the affiliate's contact record. So we can actually see a history in real time of all of the visits they've sent us. And then, of course, when they earn a referral, that shows up on their contact timeline as well. So that's really been very, very helpful for us. BuddyPress and BuddyBoss for social groups and interactions there. Easy to download free commerce data. EDU software licensing, that's what we use to sell WP Fusion and handle software updates. So we're able to see events in real time, like people activating their licenses, upgrading, downgrading, A big help for us in support is to know when somebody updated to the latest version of WP Fusion. And so when somebody goes into their own WordPress admin and clicks update plugin, that triggers an event on our website that goes into their contact record in our CRM. And so if we're getting into kind of a tricky support issue where somebody has a bug that we think might have been fixed a while ago, but they're not sure what version they're on, we can go into their contact record and see the exact dates that they installed each update. And of course, their support tickets as well are showing up in their event feed. So you can really scroll through and see like, okay, they updated to version 0.31 and 24 hours later, they sent in a ticket saying this thing was broken. And then once they updated to the next version, the problem went away. So that's been really helpful for us. GamiPress for badges and ranks and points, GiveWP for donations, Gravity Forms, of course. You can send your whole form submission as an event. LearnDash, we looked at quite a bit earlier for course progress, course enrollments, group enrollments, quizzes, and that's the same with Lifter LMS. Presto Player for video plays and progress. WooCommerce for orders, refunds, order status changes. WooCommerce subscriptions for cancellations, renewals, upgrades, downgrades. And then we also support event tracking with our own abandoned cart add-on, which we covered on Friday's show, was it, Emily?
Yeah, I think that was the first one. Yep.
Feels like so long ago. So you can also see events in your CRM in real time when the checkout starts. So you can see this kind of picture. Unfortunately, I can't show any real customer data for privacy reasons, and I don't have a great demo set up showing like a full customer flow of what it would look like on our site. But in our own CRM, you can see, for example, somebody submitting a form with a pre-sale question. You can see them adding the product to their cart, deciding maybe now is not the right time. You can see the email that we sent to them from support answering their question, and then we can see them going back to the checkout. Clicking checkout, we can see that they downloaded the WP Fusion plugin. We can see an event when they activate the license on their site, when they install the latest update. So it gives us this really, really helpful audit log of our history with the customer, which helps us both in support and also in analyzing the effectiveness of our marketing strategies.
Yeah, there's a lot there. And
There's a lot there.
There's a lot there. A lot in the event tracking, and you can add your own custom data. So it's really whatever you need it to be. That's an awesome solution. I saw this question in chat, rhetorical question. How cool is Spencer Foreman? You have no idea.
He's all right. We love Spence. Spence is great. A lot of our best ideas come from Spence, actually.
I think we had another question from Black Trees in the chat. If we had any plans of adding high level for event tracking.
Yeah, I would like to. And there is a pending feature request at high level to. So for those of you who don't know, who haven't heard of it, high level's super, super popular now. And I had never even heard of it a couple of years ago. It's a lot of people are switching to high level from Infusionsoft. It's a very comprehensive CRM and email marketing system that also has e-commerce and can do membership sites, and it has AI integrations. You can build AI chatbots that send SMSs. It's really, really powerful. And high level does have an activity feed on contact records where you can see emails that have been received and other automation steps that contacts have taken. But at the moment, that only shows high level data. We can't send custom data into that activity feed. But there is an open feature request on that. Earlier this year, they said that they have accepted it and they're looking into developing it. So as soon as high level releases that feature and opens it up over the API where we can send custom events into that activity feed, we will certainly add support.
Awesome. And oh, sorry, Emily.
No, I was just gonna second that. I think like a lot of the high level instances that I see are like relatively I don't know if insular is the right word, but it's just like it's contained within the platform. They're trying to like keep all that within the platform, so third-party integrations aren't as developed, even though it's a super advanced and cool platform.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that I think they'll benefit from opening up that ecosystem a lot, and WP Fusion will be definitely on the bus to join that.
Yeah, we're on that bus.
We're on the bus. We are the bus.
Also wanted to shout out the really nice comment from Dave Shrine in the chat, just complimenting Jack's assistant in making sure that they were able to send an event to Drip called Signed in a Membership Site. Now we can identify top users and least active users through these events. So thanks, Dave. And thanks,
Dave.
Jack.
That's a great example for event tracking. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And another shout out to Spence. We love Spence. Absolutely. All right. So let's do one more question here. Let's see. Are there any pre-built automations in WP Fusion for event-triggered workflows and CRMs?
Good question. So at the moment, here, can you put, let's see, can we put my screen back up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are two parts to this. For one, we don't have the ability to create workflows for you in your CRM. Unfortunately, none of them support that. I wish you could just like click to connect WP Fusion to high level and we could automatically install like our favorite suggested workflows and custom fields for you. But you need to set that up on your own. At the moment, our event tracking also needs to be set up on its own. So when you install it, you would see this page set up and you have to go through and set up your names and values and that kind of stuff, which is a little bit of a drag. We've been working hard this month on redoing the event tracking interfaces for our Echo Dash platform, which is coming out soon. And that comes with pre-configured events. So when you install the plugin, it would automatically detect all the plugins you have installed, and then it would give you a default event template to get started. So this, what you're seeing here with Gravity Forms set up, that has a trigger with the form title, the date, the entry URL, the page title, the URL, and all the fields. The LearnDash progress with the title, the step, the progress. All this stuff is pre-configured automatically based on the plugins that are installed and active when you install the event tracking add-on. So that's going to be kind of the next big change in that department. You can see here, so if I add trigger, it's going to ask which trigger I want to do for WooCommerce. And then if I just say order placed, it fills in all this stuff by default. So we hope that's going to save a lot of time. And obviously, you know, we understand, like, especially when we get into recurring payment stuff, there are tons and tons of variables that you can sync, and you might not know what is important, or you might not want to have to customize all of that. And so we're trying to make that easy for you by pre-configuring some defaults based on what we found most helpful for ourselves. Yeah.
Awesome.
There's a question about related to projects that are scalable. Any plans to add Composer support for installing and updating WP Fusion?
No immediate plans. Some parts of WP Fusion do use Composer, especially with our block editor and Gutenberg integrations. But I have nothing against it. It's just there's always so much to do, and nobody has asked before. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, drop a line to our support, and we can at least like put a ticket into the queue and see how easy it would be to make that happen.
That seems like a good WordPress product in general. Like, just install this product and we'll let you know all of the dependencies and turn off all the stuff you're not using. Mm-hmm. Cool beans.
Awesome. Well, I think that takes us to the last 10 minutes, which I know we've only done this a couple of times, but I've made it a habit to open up the last bit of time to sort of some WP Fusion improv, so to speak. So just thinking about event tracking, we've got folks here that probably have high level knowledge of WP Fusion, maybe people that are more in line with me that are just learning about it and really in the beginner stage. What would be a really useful thing to show our audience today about event tracking, or maybe anything else, considering it's our last day of Cyber Monday Black Friday sale. It's the last time you can get this discount at this large of a savings. So yeah, please, whatever y'all are thinking, Jack and Emily.
Yeah, I think it's a dangerous gambit to ask two delirious developers to improv, but I yeah, I think check out the link at the bottom of the page, wpfusion.com/black-friday for 30% off. Today is the last day that you can get that deal. You'll see a countdown timer on the website, but I've been just really impressed with the layers that WP Fusion can add to an existing WordPress business. Like, even if all you're doing is selling through WooCommerce or running a blog, the ability to add depth to the tracking, even if it's just a simple automation of I'm going to use the contact ID link out of my email CRM to track what the interactions of people who click the links looks like on my website. Because when people click a link out of your CRM, you can track that statistic within the CRM for the click-through rate, but you don't know what happens on the website after they click through, unless you're using something like Google Analytics, which is usually too complicated. But just that first step of saying, I'm going to use the contact ID link that Jack showed earlier in my emails. People are going to click that link, and then I'm going to know some more information about what they do on the page they click on. They'll click on my latest blog post. I'll know which blog post they click on, which blog post they went into, and whether they chose to opt in for a pop-up or not. You know, just having the ability to track where people go on your website after they click a link in your email, and how you could track like how much they interact with your website after that. It just adds a huge layer of depth to the business and what you can do. And that's just a single feature. That's not even like auto logins, private blog posts, membership websites, event tracking, like all of that stuff adds just even more layers of knowing what your customers are doing, so you can curate that customer experience in a more tailored way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I think the one thing I learned, I had a YouTuber consult with me about some of the videos I've been doing and gave me some good feedback about how what I make looks like AI generated. But one of the points that he told me was that the YouTube it uses the transcript as most of the context now for promoting. So
Okay.
we should get all of our keywords in. WordPress HubSpot, WordPress ActiveCampaign, WordPress Infusionsoft. We'll just list out all of the keyword WordPress Black Friday. But
Smart.
yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Jack? What do you think for people getting into WP Fusion or advancing in it?
Yeah, well, I guess I would just say, previously we kind of stayed on the technical side of things. People came to us with solutions that they needed, and we built them and wrote documentation for it, and then kind of just let it go in the wild. Since August, Katie's been helping us with creating a content strategy where we create a lot more interactive tutorials and reviews. And instead of just telling people what's possible, making recommendations about what might be the best thing to do to reduce churn on your subscription site, or reduce abandoned carts, or get people through your funnels faster, and that kind of thing. And then Emily, you've been helping the last couple months as well with creating the video tutorials. So I would say, sign up for our newsletter, because we're sending out a lot more information now that not only tells you what features we've developed, but also what's happening in the world of marketing automation, and what you can actually do with the tools that we've built, which is kind of a new thing for us. And we're still trying to figure out how to get it exactly right, but I think it's going to be a really exciting new thing over the coming year.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I think this might be the end of our live stream today, unless there are any other lingering questions from anyone in the audience. think we've covered a lot of territory. Or if Jack or Emily see any of my pre-formulated questions and want to spend 5 minutes on them, we could deep dive. Oh, looks like Andron Ocean has another one. How often do you live stream? This has been really interesting as someone who hasn't dug too deeply into WP Fusion yet.
This is the third time. We're just trying it out. Oh, fourth. We did one a week ago too as a test run. Yeah, so we're trying to see if people are watching, if they find it interesting, and I'm interested to see too if people will go back and watch the replays later because they stay on our YouTube channel. But yeah, I think we'd like to make it an ongoing part of our strategy.
And part of that ongoing part of the strategy is your questions in chat. So if you have any curiosities about specific add-ons or specific use cases, let us know in Facebook, let us know in the YouTube comments. That helps fuel those future live streams to have good content.
And if you want to see our previous live streams, you can head over to our YouTube channel. There is the link. You can see all of the awesome videos that Emily has made, really great tutorials. And you could also see what we did this Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend. Super exciting, interesting stuff. And you can also see them on all our socials. Yeah.
Cool. Well, the link at the bottom, wpfusion.com/Black-Friday. This is possibly your last opportunity to grab this deal. Balloons. I will trigger balloons to reactions. Balloons. I don't even know what the balloons, like, the gesture is. Like, you know how the thumbs up does.
I don't know either. Yeah, I found the button and do some hearts here. Okay, I got it all.
Yeah. Oh, I like the laser ones so much.
But thanks everyone for joining us. Let us know in the comments if you want to see more streams, what you want to see on those streams. Head to wpfusion.com/Black-Friday for your last opportunity to get that 30% off deal all year. And we will
11 hours left. The clock is ticking. 11 hours and 1 minute. Come on, people. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks everybody for joining us. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
See ya.